Hey, it's me, named Jenny Lee. I'm here with the next raw discussion video. We're on session 45, which makes this video number 46. I have a pink gift bag sitting over there, and the light is shining off of it, and there's this pink light all over my face. It's kind of cool. It's like an unintentional fill light. All right, let's get started. Here we go. Could you give us an estimate of the instrument's physical condition for communication now that she's rested? This instrument's condition as regards to bodily complex is extremely poor. The instrument is not rested. However, the instrument is eager for our contact. Poor Carla. She can't get a break, man. Did the period of abstinence from contact help the instrument's physical condition? So they took about an 8 or 9 day break based on the last session date. Now they're in April. Before we were in March still. This is correct. The probability of this instrument's development of what you would call disease, either of the pulmonary nature or the renal nature, was quite significant at our previous contact. You have averted a possible serious physical malfunction of this instrument's bodily complex. That's crazy. So it's a good damn thing they took a break. It is to be noted that your prayerful support was helpful, as was this instrument's unflagging determination to accept that which was best in the long run and thus maintain the exercises recommended without undue impatience. It is to be further noted that those things which aid the instrument are in some ways contradictory and require balance. Thus, this instrument is aided by rest, but also by diversions of an active nature. This makes it more difficult to aid this instrument. However, once this is known, the balancing may be easily accomplished. So remember, her things that help her like sexual activity, singing, stuff that's active, walking, but she also needs rest. So, like everything, there's a fine balance. So now we're getting into some questions. General questions. Can you tell me if a large percentage of wanderers here are those of Ra? I can't. So this starts happening quite often where Don will ask a question. Can you tell me something? Ra will say yes, but then not say anything. And then Don has to keep poke the bear. Are you going to tell me or what? Are they? A significant portion of 6 density wanderers are those of our social memory complex. So this is a big deal. Okay. Up until this point of the book, I had been really confused about the whole social memory complex thing. Because they talk about how they come together as one. And I'm like, so they're like one entity? But no, they can still be individuals. It seems like they're just at the point where they are so connected that they're able to connect in with each other completely. Like if you could read every single person's mind all the time and knew all their emotions, thoughts, and feelings, but they're still individuals. So that was a big deal to me, because if they're deciding to come back as a wanderer, then that means that they can still separate themselves from the social memory complex. Another large portion consists of those who aided those in South America, which remember was another 6 density entity that came around the same time that Ra came to Egypt, who they've never mentioned by name. Another portion of those aiding Atlantis, so there was somebody else helping Atlantis, all 6 density and all brother and sister groups, due to the unified feeling that as we have been aided by shapes such as the pyramid, so we could aid your peoples. So they all had pyramid type structures. And they wanted to help us with the same kind of structures. Very, very interesting. Because they're all different. They're all from different places. Could you say if any of these three of us are of Ra or one of the other groups? Yes. Okay, can you answer? Can you say which of us are of which group? No. So this is really interesting. So Dawn is asking if Dawn, Jim, and Carla are from the Ra group or one of the other groups. If they're a wanderer from one of those groups. And Ra says that at least one of them is. But then when Dawn wants to know who's who, Ra can't answer that. Are all of us of one of the groups that you mentioned? We shall go to the limits of our attempts to refrain from infringement. 2 are of a 6th density origin, one a 5th density, harvestable to 6th, but choosing to return as a wanderer due to a loving association between teacher and student. Thus, you 3 form a greatly cohesive group. So all 3 of them are wanderers. Dawn, Jim, and Carla. That's crazy. That's craziness. And 2 of them are 6th, and 1 of them is 5th. Wow. Can you explain the right and left ear tone and what I call touch contact that I continually get? This has been previously covered. That was in session 44, 3-6. Please ask for specific further details. I get what I consider to be a tickling in my right and left ear at times. Is this any different as far as meaning goes to the tone I get in my right and left ear? No, not any different. Why is the left ear of the service to self-contact and the right service to others? The nature of your physical vehicle. Oh, before we get into that. So, superstition-wise, if your left ear is burning, it means that people are talking bad about you. And if your right ear is burning, then people are talking good about you. And the same thing with hands. If your left hand is itchy, you're going to lose money. If your right hand is itchy, you're going to gain money. So traditionally for us as humans, there is a connection to the left being something negative. But here it's talking about the opposite. Left being service to self, right being service to others. Or no, that's the same. It's the same. Left, service to self, right, service to others. So how interesting is that? The nature of your physical vehicle is that there is a magnetic field, positive and negative, and complex patterns about the shells of your vehicle. The left portion of the head region of most entities is upon the time-space continuum level of negative polarity. So there you go. The magnetic field around us has the left as negative, which, remember, negative and positive are just talking about the charges, polarities, not necessarily like good and bad. Can you tell me the purpose of or philosophy behind the 4th and 5th density positive and negative social memory complexes? We didn't skip a page, did we? No, this is a very short session. Okay. The basic purpose of our social memory complex is that of evolution. Beyond a certain point, the evolution of spirit is quite dependent upon the understanding of self and other self as creator. This constitutes the basis for social memory complexes. When brought to maturity, they become social memory complexes. Oh, social complexes. Hold on, let's back up. This constitutes the basis for social complexes, so understanding that self and other self are all creators. And then when it comes to maturity, it becomes a social memory complex. The fourth density and sixth density find these quite necessary. The fifth density, positive, uses social memory in attaining wisdom, though it's done individually. In fifth, negative, much is done without the aid of others. So, once again, getting a little insight into the confusion that I had specifically, maybe some of you also had, about the whole social memory complex being all one forever and ever again. It's not really, which as someone who cherishes my individuality, I feel much better now. So fourth and sixth work together as social memory complexes, but they still have individuality. But during the fifth density, they use the information from the social memory complex, but they do it individually. And of course, fifth negative doesn't work with others anyway. Because why would they? All right, there's a little bit left here. This is the last query, as this instrument needs to be protected from depletion. And then something happens here. All right. So Don wants to know if there's anything else they can do to make Carla comfortable. All is well. Don says, "What did you say? I couldn't hear you." And then Rob repeats and finishes up what they usually say. But there's a footnote here. The latter part of this session was this is funny. The latter part of this session was interrupted by a water delivery person knocking on the door and honking his horn. Jim writes, "We had a sign on the front door asking not to be disturbed, but the fellows who delivered drinking water to fill our cistern ignored the sign and made every effort to complete their delivery. From this session on, we parked one of the cars at the bottom of the driveway so no vehicle could pass. The constant interruptions are not included in this transcript." Such is life. Trying to do some very important work here, talking to alien entities from God knows where, and the damn water guy shows up. And that's why this session is so short. But I just love it because it's being human, right? Trying to do some important stuff, and there's always some kind of interruption or distraction or, you know. Okay, so really short session here, but really good information that came about from it. Luckily, they saved Carla from some tragic issue by having her rest. We now know that even if you're in a social memory complex, you still can maintain your individuality. In 1981, there were entities from the raw social memory complex that had decided to come back as wanderers, and including also the sixth density entities who helped those in South America and in Atlantis. Lots of them had come back to help others, which just makes so much more sense to me, because I was thinking, if it's a social memory complex and they're all one entity, how can there possibly be that many wanderers? But now knowing that in those social memory complexes you maintain your individuality, and there's could be a limitless number of entities within that social memory complex, the number of wanderers makes so much more sense now, because they can still break away from their social memory complex to come do this work with us lowly humanoids. Okay, and then we learn that Don, Carla, and Jim are all wanderers. How exciting. That was so exciting to me. And then we learned that the right and left parts of our bodies really do have a positive and negative polarity, which we had figured out a long time ago, because we always have associated the left with something negative and the left or the right with something positive. And then we started getting a little bit into some more information about social memory complexes, but then they got interrupted by the water delivery guy. This is definitely the shortest raw discussion video that we've ever had. And I'm going to conclude it here. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. If this is the first raw video you've seen, you need to go watch them in order. And please join in on the discussion. Feel free to type any comments, questions, concerns, complaints down below, and let's have a discussion about all this stuff. We're getting close to the end of this first volume. Next session will be 46, and there's 10 more after that. So, moving right along. Hope everyone's doing well, and I'll see you next time. Bye!